Hi everyone, thanks so much for joining our webinar today. As you already know, the focus of this webinar is for us to show you what we've been up to over the past year towards moving from what Dalgo was to what we're now calling Dalgo 2.0, which is the new version of Dalgo, slightly different strategy, retaining all of the old functionality and then adding more to make it relevant for you. So before we dive in, what I'd like to do is just get a read of the room. And to do that, Stuti is going to go ahead and push a poll, which you should all see up on your screens in another minute. There it is. This is just so that we can know who you are, why you're here, and make sure we fine-tune this call a bit uh, to make sure that your expectations are met. Yeah. And we'll hope for at every given point of time, at least like half the people to respond. And I think we've hit that number, but I'll give it another minute and then we'll move. Glad to see folks engaging with the polls. We have like three or four more through the webinar. So please continue to be engaged. All right, I think that's good. We can close the poll. Broadly, what I'm seeing is we've got a good, like about seven people here are existing users, and other folks are new, either network partners or other new nonprofits considering adopting Dalgo or exploring it at the very least. So this is super helpful. Um, you should see the results on your screen now. I'm just flashing that there. I'm going to stop sharing and we can dive right in. So to go ahead, this is helpful context. And if we can just move ahead, we can dive into um, the webinar. So first off, for the five or so orgs that mentioned that they're exploring Dalgo, you should know that we have these boot camps that we do at least once a year. This year it's been twice, where nonprofits that are interested in trying Dalgo out, we essentially create a space for them. We had one in Bangalore, we're having one in Delhi in Jan now. And the space essentially gives you in 2 days, like you chat with us a little bit before, we make sure you're prepared. We know what you want to accomplish. We're able to kind of set up. And then on the day, over 2 days, we will spend about 15 hours with you. And we get you set up on Dalgo. So we'll build out some basic visualizations. We'll automate your data workflow. And then once that's done, you kind of have a proof of concept in terms of, hey, this is what the platform can do. You then get a month to work on Dalgo for free. So you get a free month subscription to Dalgo. And you can kind of expand on whatever we did during the boot camp and see, whether it's meeting your larger needs. And then you can sign up for the platform if you'd like. So it's a great opportunity to kind of come together, meet your community of nonprofits, and get rolling on Dalgo quickly to see, to validate whether or not it's useful for you. So if you're interested in that, Stuti is going to push the link for registration for the boot camp um, in the chat. I see it there. Thanks, Tuti. And for those of you that are interested, feel free to fill it in. We'll push this again at the end for your reference. Um, and with that, we can dive in and I can talk to you a bit about Dalgo. So for those of you who said you're not exactly too familiar with what the platform is, I'm going to do a quick walkthrough, not of the platform, but at least of its core functionality and an example of an organization using the platform. So the aim of Dalgo is to help you move from disaggregated, confusing, unreliable data to better clarity and eventually confidence, right? And we're breaking up clarity kind of conceptually into two bits. So one is, can I automate everything that I've been doing manually so far, right? So if I'm doing a Google form, I'm doing a field collection, baseline, midline, endline, and I have a chatbot platform. All of this data is sitting separately. Every quarter or whenever someone wants a report, my monitoring and evaluation or data teams are syncing in uh, hours and hours, at least a week, to put that data together so that we have insights to discuss. It's always usually repetitive work, right? And so can we automate that? Can we set up your system so that all your data comes to a central location regularly, gives you the required tables on a regular basis? That's the first thing that Dalgo will do for you. And then the second bit is, so okay, I have my data. How do I make sense of it, right? How do I add context so that we can understand better what your impact is, how things are going, whether you want to monitor ongoing implementation as well. So this is most commonly in dashboards, and we're actually exploring a few more ways in which we can help you build context and through that clarity. So that's broadly what the platform does, right? It automates and it helps you build context or clarity with dashboards and other kinds of insights that you can share easily with everyone. So I'll illustrate this with an example. Who you see in that picture there is Arun from Stir, and what we're going to do is take Stir's example. So Stir Education is a nonprofit that works across Indonesia, India, and I think I'm getting this right, Uganda, if I'm not wrong. And they work to upskill teachers so that teachers, when they teach better, student outcomes improve, right? And they used to have all of their data, and they had dashboards, but anytime that dashboard was going to come into review, they would still need to spend time, about 7 days of a month, just making sure that, hey, everything's up to date and correct there, right? So that they spent about 7 days on that. And as a result of that, they weren't able to make it useful for everyone, right? Because it was at a low frequency and requiring high effort to make it accurate and useful. And so they faced a problem that we noticed many nonprofits face, and that's the problem we're trying to solve for, which is that they're spending a lot more time managing their data than learning from it, right? And the aim is for all nonprofits to be able to learn from their data easily. And so Stir adopted Dalgo to solve for this problem. If we could move ahead, right? And broadly, the result is became more efficient. They were able to increase ownership, not only amongst leadership, but across all teams. And as a result of this, because data came in more efficiently, more people were able to access and own outcomes that were linked to data. They were able to make better decisions. Dalgo brought together data from Survey, CTO, Google Sheets, and Glyphic, and pushed it onto Looker Studio dashboards. And that time that they spent went from uh, a week every month, it went down to an hour every month. And so that's broadly a little example of how Dalgo's been helping nonprofits. And I think Arun very aptly captures that. So we met our nonprofits in Bangalore um, last month, a month or two ago. And we were chatting with all of them about how things have been going with Dalgo. And this is something that Arun shared that we thought would be useful to share with you. And to the latter point, right, that hey, now everything's dependable, coming in regularly, and they're able to focus more on building out their data story, right? So that's something we as Dalgo are also trying to focus on enabling for nonprofits better, right? How do you tell stories better within your team, externally to funders, externally to the public, possibly even share the effect of your impact back with the communities that you're impacting? So that's been a focus for us. And over the past 2 years, we've worked with about 25 nonprofits. Stuti, if you could go to the next slide. Um, and what we've been learning through that time is a lot of what's informed where Dalgo is going, right? So most of these nonprofits are large nonprofits, right? Even if they're not large, usually they have high data maturity, which is to say that they know what data they're collecting, why they're collecting it, what they want to do with it. They may even have commonly they did have some amount of technical capacity and expertise, right? So those were the folks that were using Dalgo. And secondly, What was happening now is that since Dalgo was in place, then the folks that managed Dalgo, so maybe it was one, two, three people on their team, um, uh, the rest of the team became kind of dependent on them. Nonprofits kind of their needs are changing all the time, right? You would know, like month on month, you may add new fields to your forms. You may realize you need to visualize a new chart or dashboard. And you shouldn't have to be dependent on someone to make that possible. You want to be able to do that quickly, right? As quickly as you need it, you should be able to do it fairly close to that pace of frequency. And that's the second thing, right? On speed and changing needs of nonprofits. The third thing is more around, okay, we've adopted Dalgo, we have automated dashboards ready. But now what we noticed is everyone's got dashboards. They're spending a lot of time every week, every month, sitting with their field teams, their program teams, checking like, did you look at the dashboard? How are we doing based on the dashboard? If you didn't look at the dashboard, why not? Based on the dashboard, what's your plan for next week? Right? These are the kinds of conversations that were happening. And what we were thinking then is like, hey, maybe dashboards aren't everything. Everyone doesn't have to go through the cognitive load and effort of reading a dashboard to be able to use data. Maybe instead of you going to the data in the dashboard, the data from the dashboard can come to you, right? So that was another thought we were playing with. And kind of to sum it all up, what we were thinking is right now we're in a good place. What we've done is we've made it possible for nonprofits to access like enterprise grade um, business intelligence, automation at a very low cost. But what we want to do, because Dalgo aims to work with nonprofits, work for impact, is we want to be able to not only be affordable, but also be very fine-tuned to serving nonprofits, right? So in the shift from 1.0 to 2.0, the kind of, how do you say, North Star for us is, can we become more nonprofit centric? Can we cater to the use cases within nonprofits? So that's one. The second thing is, okay, all of our nonprofits have high data tech maturity, but all nonprofits do not have high data and tech maturity. Most nonprofits have an upskilling, monitoring, and evaluation team that's working with data. They may not know like SQL. They may need some more guidance around that. Similarly, it's not just the person using the platform that benefits from the data, but leadership often definitely relies on data, as do programs. So if these are the folks that actually benefit from the data most often, and if these are the capacities, how do we make Dalgo usable for these people, right? The M&E programs team, leadership team. Um, and lastly, I mean, and relatedly, where before we had ingest, transform, orchestrate, visualize. These are fairly technical. They relate more to your pipeline, except for visualize, which is your dashboard. We would now focus more on popular use cases, which is, hey, I need some key metrics aligned with my theory of change or logic frame. I want these regular reports that we can review and discuss. I want alerts to go out to my field team instead of telling them to learn from a dashboard. And I want to be able to build charts easily instead of not only like learning a new tool that is separate from Dalgo, because previously Dalgo provided a hosted version of Superset or the option to use any other tool that you wanted. So this is broadly the shift, right, across goals, users, and key themes that we were focusing on. And with that, what I quickly like to do, I think, yeah, I think what I like to do now is hand over to Pradeep, and he can show you what the platform used to look like, what it looks like today, and then we'll go on to talk a little bit about what we have planned for the future. Yeah. Over to you, Pradeep.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. Thanks for that handover. I think Stuti, you want to push the second poll as well as we get into the demo. We are just trying to understand what kind of tools you're using today and how you're using them across data acquisition and visualization. It's just for us to understand the different kinds of tools you're using. As we go through the demo, you will see how Dalgo supports most of the tools you're already using today. So that will be useful information to talk through. We'll just take
Yeah.
30 seconds in this and move on. Yeah.
Yeah, the poll's up, so everyone would be able to see it now.
Okay, let's see. Google Sheets leading it. Kobo toolbox. Okay. Stay here. Click as well. It's nice. Okay. Looker Studio on the side. Okay. Think we reached the 50% mark that we have. Great to see almost everybody answering. 10 more seconds, Tuti, you can end the poll. Think.
Yeah,
Yeah, think we are good.
I'll
Yeah,
just end the poll
yeah,
now
you can end the poll.
and share the results quickly.
Cool. You can see the results on the screen as well. So really interesting mix. Google Sheets definitely or Excel is definitely leading. Kobo Toolbox and Survey CTO. And Looker Studio, Power BI Superset. Okay, great to see. And again, Excel as well, I think people are using for visualization. Okay, that's great. Thanks for that. So as we get into the demo, we'll just, we want to take like a fictional NGO for this demo. Let's consider an NGO working pan India across multiple domains like education, climate change, and livelihood. They have multiple founders for each of their programs. They may do it cross or specific programs as well. So leadership is looking to understand how their funds are being utilized today and how to approach the next year. So they want some inferences out of their data. They have data already with them, but they're looking to understand it in a better way and with their teams as well. And we come to the program and M&D teams mainly, who work day in and day out with their programs, figuring out how it is going, how the reach is, and other things. So we look at how they can use Dalgo as well in understanding their program current state, as well as figuring out what they can do for the next year and plan as well. So with that context, I'll just move on to the demo. Uh, and I think Abhishek mentioned about Dalgo 1.0 and 2.0. Just wanted to give a glimpse of what Dalgo 1.0 was. This is the older platform we had, currently being used as well. As you see, it is very heavily focused on the automation or ingest, transform, orchestrate parts of it. Very technical and very focused on the pipeline. And we'll go through the details here, but moving on to the actual 2.0. So this is the new platform or 2.0 as we call it. As you can see, the focus has shifted in a way. Everything that was part of 1.0 is now within the data, I think, title. You can see the same ingest, transform, orchestrate, which is still very important to the platform, and we'll definitely continue to support and enhance and make it better. But that is all within data now, and now the focus is shifted to storytelling and how you can do more with inferring information out of your data. Backbone is still the data part of it, but we want to do more with the other parts as well as we go along. I'll walk you through the overall setup. As I said, it's a fictional NGO with multiple programs and multiple funders across areas. I'll just show the sheet we are using. So we are using Google Sheet in this example, but Dalgo supports over 150 different sources as well. So all of the things you have mentioned in the poll is possible. And since Google Sheets was the leading one, it's easier to go through that in the demo. So this is the program information. They're doing it across multiple states and district, as you see. It shows the number of students they're reaching today and the gender mix as well. And we also have some scoring. They do assessments every quarter and see how their students are performing. And that helps them to determine how they can do their program better going forward. And we have a sample funder information. We have picked three fictional funder names who work across those three domains, like I mentioned, education, climate, and livelihood. And they have dispersed for the year, and we have broken it across quarters and how we have utilized the funds as well. So we'll go through it. So just to show, right, the Google Sheets, the same Google Sheets are what we have ingested here. And just for people to understand, like a Kobo, and ComCare, for example, like we have multiple sources available where you can do it. So as you see, the list is actually pretty expansive. We can even support custom sources when we work with Dalgo, but most of the standard ones are already supported here. And another interesting one we can do is, if you have seen the program information, we have three sheets here. For this demo and for this purpose, we thought the first two sheets are enough. So it is just the flexibility of the platform. Just wanted to showcase. We can select what sheets are being shared. The third one, I'm not even syncing right now. And whatever we are syncing will go and sit in a central warehouse. So right now we are using a Postgres database to uh, push all the information in. So this is the ingestion part. You're organizing multiple sources of information. So here it's Google Sheets, but it can be a combination of, say, Kobo, Google Sheets, Comcare, everything coming together and moving to your warehouse, as it shows here. The next important part is definitely what we call transform. We have a simplified UI way of doing it. And as you all understand, I'm hoping you spend time cleaning or figuring out your data. Maybe you do it manually, maybe you run scripts, maybe you have other tools for it. So this is where this transform helps. So these are the same tables we are using, the sheets from the Excel. So we are trying to cast it to certain data types like integer and other things, and we have drop and other functions. Just for you to understand, 1 second. Yeah, we have the basic, uh, even medium to advanced use cases, where you can calculate aggregates, arithmetic, the cast part of it. You can drop columns, you can join the tables, you can do a pivot, unpivot, a lot of things, right? So this is your basic handling and cleaning of data. We have done some casting and some join of tables to showcase what we are showing in the charts and dashboards next. Yeah. And then moving to orchestrate, this is what Abhishek was also showcasing as the automation or the heart of automation in Dalgo. So we can set up, say you're pulling in from 10 sources and you're doing 20 operations on it, and everything is going to the database or the warehouse. All this you don't need to do manually, right? Once you're in the platform, Dalgo takes care of all this. You set up everything and you create what we call a pipeline, which is orchestrated in the sense all these sources are coming in and it is running the transformation along with it. We can set up a schedule for it, like a daily, weekly, whatever time you want it to run. And so this means that the next day you come in, you will have fresh data from today's whatever happened in the field. And you can see your charts based on that live data, right? So that is the main point. These are the main parts of data in Dalgo. Moving on to 2.0 part of it, which is dashboards and charts. I'll walk you through a pre-created funder dashboard and we'll do a quick creation of another MND dashboard as we go along. Yeah. Just wanted to showcase how a typical funder dashboard can look like. Uh, and this is based on information you saw in the sheet, right? We see that there are three funders for this. So three funders across multiple categories, and they have dispersed, say, 15 crores and 5 crores are being spent. So we can see it in different types of charts. We have bar, line, graph, and pie other things, just to show how much has been dispersed, how much has been utilized, and over the quarter as well, right? So we can see it by date, or here we have a line graph to break it down by quarter. So this will easily help leadership or anybody seeing this determine like I utilized a lot of say education fund in this quarter, and somehow this has dropped. The utilization has dropped in December, and this can kind of lead to discussions or questions and figuring out their next steps for the next year. Maybe we are not utilizing as much for climate going forward. Maybe we want to do more for education, whatever, right? So main point of this is to help with inferring from your data and telling your stories to your beneficiaries, funders, and your program teams and leadership as well. Yeah. So the other part is definitely you can uh, work with filters to see like the same information. say the leadership or a particular funder themselves want to see how they have done. So it is definitely possible to filter it and play around with your data and see the live things change. And again, see what you can infer from there. Uh, Moving on to the program or the MND dashboard, I would like to create a chart quickly. I'll just walk you through what the chart looks like. Just a second. Yeah. So we have already done the cleaning and creating the fact tables. So this is the one I'm choosing. As you see, these are the types of charts supported, and we are expanding based on NGO use cases from this. Let me select map. So this is for India. We are expanding to other use cases like Abhishek mentioned, Uganda and Indonesia as well. So mainly we want to show, say, the number of students we have reached in each state because it's a pan-India NGO. So let's do a sum of the students. And because it's a country, we want to do what we call a drill down. Right now it's not showing. So if I set up the drill down, we can see it and we can go down. Uh, So this now shows clearly, like for Karnataka, we have 83 lakh and Maharashtra 99, based on the data we have, right? So it will clearly showcase how much students we have reached. And this is a great way for program teams to see where they are right now, how they're doing. Maybe Andhra Pradesh is a bit low. They have not yet reached Ladakh, for example. Can they expand there? So visually to see it on a map geographically helps. And our charts come with an easy way to see what data is being shown on it. So you can refer and make sure it's the right one. Let's name it as, okay. So we'll create this chart and use it in a dashboard. So let's create a dashboard. Okay. Let's create a title. So this is the way we create our dashboard. You can see the grid lines. Mainly it's a canvas where you can put in things as you want. You can arrange it however you want, expand it to full size, whatever is required, right? So just showcasing that part. Give me a second. Yeah. Let me just do it quickly. Okay. Here we can add in multiple charts and again resize as we require. Let me add the one I created just now. So it comes into this chart. You can expand and show how you want it. Again, the same information is here. We have the gender ratio as well, right? Like I said, that is something the NGO cares about, how the reach has increased over time and how it is between the gender ratio as well, right? So fairly even in this case, maybe there are inferences based on the data. Maybe, for example, if female is going low, or for example, they're not able to reach females in a particular state, for example, that can be an inference drawn based on this. Uh, and like we had shown, we can easily create filters to see this data based on state and district as required. Like you can create a high level dashboard, add filters to it, and drill down as much detail as you want. It can be for your teams or maybe for field teams as well. Uh, yeah, that is, and then this is the preview part. Very simple dashboard for now, but definitely we can keep adding to it and see how it works. Uh, you can do this drill down as well and see it even goes to the district level, right? So that is the main point of the geographical map. And I talked about field teams. We can easily share this with anybody in the field. They don't even need to come to Dalgo. With just this public link, they can, for example, access and infer whatever they're required. They don't need to have access to the Dalgo product in that sense. If they want, they can be given, but just as an example, wanted to share this is the public dashboard view, for example. Uh, yeah, so mainly that is those are the things which are already in the platform. This is in production right now. Our team has been hard at work figuring out and working on new use cases as well, based on working with our sprint and working with NGOs. Um, think a few of the use cases, especially with AI, are getting popular. And I've showed you how the dashboard works. So say a program or M&D team created this dashboard and shared it with their whole organization. the leader or somebody else in another team may have questions about it. So they'll usually reach out to that person who created and ask questions. So to avoid that or to close that gap, we are working on what we call AI chat with dashboards, where each dashboard will have an AI agent whom you can ask questions to explain the dashboard, explain the data behind it, maybe even do more inferences as well. That is not yet available for everybody. We are still working on it and improving our use cases with specific NGOs as well. We plan to have it in the next quarter by Feb or March. Just wanted to showcase a quick demo of it. Uh, on how it is showing. Hopefully you can see it. That is the AI agent which is available for every dashboard. We can do is what do you call small talk, like tell me about this dashboard. It will just talk about each chart, what is there and highlight it. The next question is mainly about data point of view, like population of Karnataka. We see it on the chart, but it'll infer the based on the data, it'll show the source as well. So very clearly you can understand where the data is coming from and how it is inferred on the chart as well, which will help you understand how the dashboard is built and maybe even suggest how to improve the dashboard for specific use cases or specific people as well. So this is something exciting we're working on and should be available soon as well. Um, so with that, I think the demo is complete. Happy to take any questions as well, but passing on to Abhishek to go ahead with the next part. Go ahead, Abhishek. I'll stop sharing. You can continue your.
Yeah, thanks so much for that, Pradeep. I think that was a super succinct view of things that took us a lot longer than it took for you to explain it. But yeah, and that's just the beginning, like Pradeep showing you. Essentially, this sets the base up. So let's assume the automation was one level of the base, which gets everything easily processed and ready for you to have insights. Charts and dashboards bring those insights to surface within the platform. It still connect separately if you want and visualize them. And now AI chat is on top of chats and dashboards, right? So it gives you more functionality, more utility. And then there are a couple of other things that we're thinking about. You should be able to see my screen right now. Could you just confirm that? Yeah.
We can.
Let me move to full screen. I'm going to just talk you through. So this is where we are today, right? We've got charts, dashboards, and the landing page ready. It's released. Any current user of Dalgo can visit insights.dalgo.org and start using this. What we're going to be doing by Jan is like Pradeep showed you, AI chat with dashboards that will be out for beta. So we'll essentially release it to a few of our nonprofits. They'll be able to see it and use it if they want. If you're someone that doesn't use Dalgo, but you're excited to use it, we're happy to have that conversation. Just reach out to us. Like Pradeep said, the more use cases and feedback we get, the better informed the outcome is. Another thing we're working on is reports, and I'll show you a bit more about what reports are. But broadly, reports will enable you to uh, period over period or like month over month, for example, take a snapshot of your dashboard, have a discussion about it, retain that within Dalgo. Next month, when you come back, you can see, hey, this is what we discussed last time. These were the people that we tagged who had to do things. And this is where we are this month, right? So that's broadly reports. Another thing is alerts. So, like I had mentioned to you earlier, maybe everyone doesn't need to come to a dashboard. We can send critical information to them on email or WhatsApp that can then nudge them to action. That's another thing we'll be working on. We'll have that out by March. We'll also have AI chat with dashboards and reports, early version accessible to everyone by March. And we'll be working on giving more fine-grained access control on our dashboards, right? So you should be able to come in and based on who you are, see only the data that's relevant to you, so on and so forth. So that's something we'll be working on having out by March. And then for the future beyond, and this will be heavily influenced by your feedback and how everything before it goes. We'll work further on alerts and sharing. We'll also be, so some feedback we got from folks like Anusha and Arun when they were at our sprint last month was If you're truly trying to be nonprofit specific, maybe integrate public data sets. So, hey, if this is the marker for malnutrition in India, we as an organization that work in malnutrition, where do we are we moving the needle against that baseline for malnutrition within the country? So can we have those public data sets in Dalgo by default? Maybe you don't want to set up your own data warehouse. Maybe you want us to manage all of that for you. We would do that. And lastly, like we mentioned, we're trying to reach all nonprofits. And maybe all nonprofits don't need all the functionality we're providing. So many of you said you just use Google Sheets, right? And so maybe what we're considering doing is limiting functionality and providing Dalgo to you at a lower cost or for free. And so that's broadly the idea. Um, so with that, that covers the roadmap. Before we move into questions, let me just give you a glimpse into reports. How do I? There we go. So this is broadly what reports would look like. So let's assume you have a dashboard. So for example, something like a monthly implementation summary. This report you can see is generated on the 15th of every month, right? And what you can do is see every report generated over time. You can download it if you want. You can view it. You would have a summary auto-generated, editable. You would also be able to leave a pin, annotate, and think of it like a snapshot of a dashboard every month. And then you have the ability to, like you do in Google Docs, tag someone, say, hey, you're responsible for this now, XYZ. You're able to download it, share it, and come back to it month on month for every review. So that's the idea behind reports that I wanted to share with you. We're working on building this out with a couple of NGOs. With that, I'll stop talking. We'll move into questions. Stuti will push a poll just to get some feedback from you. But for all of those, for those of you who are on the call, if you have questions, just unmute and go ahead and ask them. Yeah. I'm back in exactly a minute. I'm so sorry.
I see.
Thanks for your question, Anil.
Yeah,
Pradeep, Anil has a question in the chat. He's trying
yeah,
to
I
guide.
just read that. Yes. Can
Anil,
you
maybe
please?
you could unmute and share the question.
Yeah, feel free to do that, Anil. Maybe just a clarifying question I can ask and try to answer it. But mainly, Anil is asking, you can see that your work benefits the current large-scale NGOs. You're, you're asking if we have an easy-to-follow process involving free for NGO. Okay. Oh, okay. Stuti is not able to unmute apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that, Anil. Let me just check the permissions once.
So I think I understand the question. Um, so first off, Anil, let me just share that while more mature organizations do use Dalgo, we do have a few organizations that are not large, not particularly technically mature, that have been able to adopt the platform. The platform costs about 2 lakhs a year, uh, which now, depending on who you are, I think it's affordable for most nonprofits. But now answering your question on free tools, right, that you can use at your scale, I think it matters a lot about, first off, how you're collecting your data. So a lot of small nonprofits, right, they come to us and they ask us, they're thinking about Dalgo because they know they want automation, but the problem actually lies with them at data collection. So I would suggest that you first review that, how you are collecting data, how structured is it? Do you need a tool for data collection? First, you should think about that. And within that, you can look at tools like Kobo Toolbox, Google Forms, Avni, Comcare, Survey CTO. These are all tools you should look at and make sure your collection is in good shape. Beyond that, then for data transformation, some organizations do this directly on the dashboard, right? So you can connect your data sets to your dashboard, and to a degree you can do some joining, computation, filtering, and that works till a certain point. Once you're there, you've done that, you may feel the need then for something like Dalgo. But first, I think first most important thing is get your collection solidly in place. Try out direct collection to visualization, or use Google Sheets in the middle. A lot of organizations do that, right? They'll pull all of their data into a Google Sheet. They'll do cleaning and computation on that. One final tab will be there with their final data on Google Sheets, and then they connect that to a dashboarding tool. So those are your options, and I hope that was helpful. Yeah. And if you're able to unmute now, I mean, feel free to ask a follow-up question or whatever you'd like to do.
Yeah, while Anil, you're unmuting, I'll also trigger the poll.
I see Siraj's hand raised. Siraz, sorry. Go ahead, Siraz. Yeah. If you'd like to unmute. If you're not able to, please let us know in the chat. Uh, Folks should be able to unmute now, right, Stuti?
Yeah, I am not, the host permissions are allowing participants to unmute, but I'm also individually asking them to unmute via the
Okay.
option. So you should have an
We'll,
option.
yeah,
Go
go ahead,
ahead,
go ahead.
Hello.
Siraz. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's possible. Thanks, Abhishek and Pradeep, for wonderful presentation. I joined a little bit later, so in case if you covered that question, just ignore it. But if not, my question is that increasingly now reporting that is happening. So having the dashboard or the data transformation system is basically two phase. You require an internal information which helps you for decision making and future program planning, but also it's an external phase where you are reporting to the donor, right? So my question is more from an external facing point of view. Increasingly, donor are now asking you to report against the LFA, which has the output indicator and outcome kind of indicator and activity kind of indicator. So is it something that can be created using this platform in terms of reporting against the LFA? So whatever you presented was a cumulative number for a particular activity, but LFA is like I have an outcome, and within outcome I have multiple outputs, and within each output I have an activity, right? So that kind of, because from programmatic point of view at organizational level, even that will be something that particularly in large project it will be useful, not necessarily all the project, but in large project I think that that is something which will be useful in case if that feature is there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we put together a simple dashboard just for reference. You'll recall Pradeep had showed the transformation section, right? The little workflow with the nodes where he had built out the transformation. So over there, let's assume that your logic frame or whatever it is that the funder has said in terms of outcomes, activities, outputs, etc., that you need to have. So there'll be some numbers, right? So let's assume that the outcome is like um, students. Students start performing really, really well in the sciences, right? And then your activities will be number of sessions taken, outputs maybe like formative assessment scores, etc. Right? So all you would need to do is if you have a target for that, you would just do percentage computations in the transform section. Um, right? Percentage computations or difference, if you just want to subtract and see what is the gap you'll have to cover, or average of all students and then against the gap. All of that can be done in transform, and then you can visualize whatever you really want to. So that's the way it would go. So there's two places when you do this, right? So one is some of the dashboarding. In the dashboard itself, you can do some of these computations, right? When you're building the chart out, you can say, create a calculated field and do it, etc. And the other is in the mid layer of the transform layer. So you can do it in both places with Dalgo and what we've shown you so far. We suggest you do it in the transform section, and then everything you're mentioning, the percentage reach, completion against output, outcome, all of that will you can visualize it easily. Yeah. I hope that's helpful, Siraz. Anusha? Yeah.
You're not able to unmute.
Okay, thanks.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question was for those of us who already have dashboards created on 1.0. Can there be some easier way to? We've already started the process of trying to do that in Bhumi. I had a session with Anusha, the Dalgo Anusha, about this. But if there is a way for us to like to make it easier for us to migrate the dashboards, is it something that's been considered?
I can take that one. So if you're thinking like, can I hit the export button on my current dashboards and then import it to Dalgo? Can it be a two-click process? No, unfortunately, it cannot. We would need to rebuild it. What you will have going for you is that technically all of your data transformation is already done. So if that was done in a way that your final data sets are in a good shape to be visualized, then the logic behind the charts remains the same, right? So we just need to reconfigure the charts, which is super easy usually. If the data sets are in place and you have even like 40 charts, I think it's like 1 to 2 hours of work. I think if the tables are perfect, yeah. Of course, Anusha from our team and all can comment better. Yeah. But yeah, and I don't expect that to be possible. Pradeep, you can comment. Do you think it'll ever be possible for us to do that? Export from another visualization tool and then import to Dalgo dashboards?
Yeah, we explored it once in engineering, not fully in detail, but superset is the close which comes, which can be possible, but they give a format which works sometimes and doesn't. And if you go to all the other tools, right, like say somebody's in Power BI or any other like Tableau, it may not always work, the import export part. They may not even let you export in a way that it can be consumed by others. So it's not always possible there. But like Abhishek said, if the fact tables are right, the transformation is good, recreating the chart should ideally be easy. There may be cases where there may be some gaps between the existing tools and Dalgo, and that's where you can definitely reach out to us and we'll help you there and maybe even close the gap as required based on the particular use case. But that should work.
Yeah, we're excited to help you rebuild everything, Anusha. Um, yeah. Any more questions from anyone else on the call? Again, like I had mentioned previously, let me just reiterate, if you're one of the 8 or 9 folks that mentioned that that you're exploring Dalgo, then there's no better opportunity to do so than at the Dalgo bootcamp. Know that while we've shared this publicly, while publicly kind of what's gone out is that it's happening in Delhi. We're exploring the possibility of doing it in both Delhi and Bangalore around the same time. So we're thinking 21st, 22nd Jan will be Delhi. And then the following week, did I say Bangalore? I meant Mumbai, sorry. So yeah, so we'll do Delhi 21st, 22nd Jan. And then if you're in or around Mumbai, going to Delhi's too much time and effort, then we'll do it in Mumbai in the next week. So if you're in either of these places, in and around either of these places, would like to come by the end of Jan, have tested, tried Dalgo, have something up and running, and then have something to test for the rest of the month, if that's the aim, right? So that whether or not this is possible before the FY ends. Then do reach out to us. Stuti will push the link again. There we go. Thank you so much. And also, if you just want to chat with us, I'm gonna go ahead and share my Calendly. And Stuti will also share. Oh, Stuti, do you have Priyesh's Calendly
Yeah,
handy?
I have it.
Perfect. So then if you could just share that. Um, so you can reach out to us and we're happy to chat with you and just learn how you're using data today and why it's useful for you. Yeah, and we're on the call until 3. Happy to take more questions. Yeah. If anything's left unanswered for folks who joined, yeah, let us know. We want to make sure we clear as many questions as possible.
There are two
Right.
questions
So
in the chat. Yeah.
I see it. I see it. Thanks. So, Sachin, what will be the cost of Dalgo 2.0? It's the same as 1.0. We've not increased the price or anything. Dalgo costs the same. The price is rupees 2,400, 2,04,000 annually, which works out to about 17,000 a month if you just use Dalgo. Right, so Dalgo, the way we just showed it to you, there's an advanced visualization tool called Superset, which we also provide optional. If you want to use that, then it's 2,52,000 a year, which works out to like 21,000 a month. So that's the costing. It's not changing even with the new version of Dalgo. It remains the same. All of the added feature functionality will be made available to you at the same price. Okay, Anil has a question. Want the team to think about new orgs who are starting their work on ground. Right. So when you look at the spectrum, right, Anil, I'll just mention that so the spectrum, I mean, or rather the flow of data. So you can think of it as like there's data collection, that's step one. Then there's data cleaning, data computation, data storage, and then data visualization or data usage in a PowerPoint or a PDF report or whatever it is. So if that is the entire flow, Dalgo is not touching collection at the moment. We've had some very small conversations about it, but right now that is out of scope for Dalgo, right? We don't collect the data. We don't provide you a tool in which you can collect the data in an organized fashion. So the assumption is you are using many tools already. We don't need to come and replace those tools. Those are good tools, right? So if you're collecting data in a Google Sheet and a Google Form, etc., then Dalgo comes in post collection to help you bring it all together and then learn from it, make sense of it. So that's one thing I wanted to clarify first in terms of what is the scope of the product today, right? Secondly, we are thinking, I mean, like I mentioned, we're thinking about doing a light version of Dalgo. We're thinking about doing a free version of Dalgo. Anusha from our team, from the Dalgo team, is actually running another event. In Delhi just before the boot camp. So if you're in and around Delhi, come for that. It's called Data Dialogues, and that is for smaller organizations like yourself, assuming that you are a smaller organization. And the idea there, or the broader idea there is. How can we cater beyond Dalgo as the product, right? To the larger nonprofit audience. So at that event, Anusha will run you all through a data maturity assessment. There she shared the details of the event. Yeah, so she'll run you all through a data maturity event. This is happening in Delhi, I think on the 20th, if I'm not wrong. So there'll be a data maturity assessment, a whole bunch of nonprofits. We expect them to mostly be small to medium size, I think. They'll be coming in. You'll have the assessment. We'll see, hey, what are the key focus areas that you need to make a change in, and then we'll map out a little plan for you. And so that's the beginning of our work, Anil, in the direction of your suggestion. Yeah, we're trying to do different things to cater to even smaller nonprofits that just need advice.